Welcome to Toffee Blue View, your source for all things Everton. I'm Gerry, chilling here with the brothers McAllister, Paul, and Terry. Yeah. And it's Thunderdome. 2 men into 1 man leave. This is something that's happening. We're talking about Tom Davies. What to do with Tom Davies? Very polarizing figure. All over social media, all over the world, and also all over this fam. These two guys, they have differing views on old Tom, and right now, I'm going to see where I fall after hearing these guys out. I have a feeling I'm probably going to agree with both of them in one way or another, because I'm just a sappy kind fellow. So, gentlemen, each of you, I will begin with Paul, because I started with Terry last one. Make your Davies statement. Your opening statement, please, gentlemen. Paul, what do you got about Tom? What do we do with this guy?
I want to preface this in the sense that I don't hate Davies. I want Davies to succeed just as much as anybody, and I think Davies will succeed long term, providing that he is coached properly and used properly. But over the past year, basically, since Ronald Koeman went, basically, Tom Davies' level of performances have just consistently not been good enough. For me, he's played far more than any other young player. He's not been injured at all in that time, so it's not even like he's been in and out, he's been stop-start. He's played an awful lot of games, probably overloaded, and just the amount of performances where I thought, yeah, he really made a difference today. He really, the team was better for having him there. Are just the few and far between, and they have been for a while. He's very, very poor against Bournemouth. He was, for me, the worst player against Huddersfield. He was comfortably the worst player on the pitch, and he played the full 90. Now, I know that's not his fault. I know he doesn't pick himself. I know he can't decide to take himself off. But for me, he's being put in the spotlight too much. I didn't agree with him being made captain in the Carabao Cup, because I thought that put a spotlight on him that was unnecessary. That was going to get a lot of people talking about him. I would have played him, but I would not have given the captaincy. And to play him again during this week. Now, I know we've got a few injury problems, but for me, Davies is not developed enough yet to be a starter in our team consistently. I think Davies is still at the point where if he's going to not go out on loan, then he has to be playing between 20 to 25 games. He can't be playing close to 30, over 30, for me. Even in a season if we had Europe, which we don't this season. I just think he's very, very young. He's very, very raw. He does have qualities there to work with. But my point on him is a lot of the criticism he's getting, a lot of it is valid and a lot of it is justified. I know there's always a couple of idiots who go over the top, but a lot of the criticism he's getting is deserved. And I think people who are getting to the stage where they're fed up now and they feel like, no, this kid needs a bit of tough love now. It's not fair that just because he's local, because he's got a bit of a quirky personality, people just don't want to hear a word against him. When there's a lot of players who are not local and don't have the background that he's got, who didn't get anywhere near the amount of opportunities that he got, and yet they were told to basically sod off, and that nobody's sad to see them go. Whereas players like Davies, he's been given far more opportunities than a lot of them, and for a long time now, he's not made good on any of them. So my point on him is, I think he's a good player, quality-wise, but he's been not good enough recently, and the book needs to stop now.
Terry, your opening statement, sir.
Right. Tom Davies was a kid who made his debut under Ronald Koeman halfway through his first season. And when he came into the side, he was very, very young. I think he was 17, maybe just about to turn, 17 to 18. When he came into the side, he was full of energy, full of good movement, he had it. He came into the team and he freshened up the midfield. He took Idrissa Guye's place at first. And then not a couple of games later, he was part of a middle three with Schneiderlin, who was still playing really well at that point, Idrissa Gueye and him. And that was the middle three. And his role was to make the breaks forward from that middle three. He wasn't a number 10. He didn't sit off the striker. He didn't do any of that. He would just make the run beyond the striker from deep. He thrived in that position. He played really well at that time. He looked like he was going to be the next big thing, following on from Ross Barkley, who'd cooled off a lot at that point. Then, the next season, in the summer, we bought an array of players, especially in midfield, Tom Davies then fell down the pecking order. We all know what happened to the team in the big picture when it was a mess and it needed fixing. And Tom Davies then only came back into the team under Sam Allardyce. Now, in 2 years, 2.5 years that he's been a regular first team player, as in like a senior squad player, he's had 3 different managers who are all very different in style. He's had his development stopped and started. He's been played in a variety of positions. He's played all types of different midfield roles. Some of them he's good at, some of them he isn't. His confidence will be on the floor. People give him more abuse than they give any other player. I'm not going to sit here and suggest that he's not playing badly when he is playing badly. He's having a run of poor games. But where has it got to the point now where young players don't once they play badly for a couple of games or they spell or even half a season, you just forget about them and farm them out on loan? They need to play their way through it. Tom Davies is not going to be the first team choice when everyone is fit in this team, but at the minute he is the depth, and there's an injury crisis in midfield, so he is starting games. Okay, Huddersfield, terrible game, he was poor, but people forget, because he's been around for a few years, that he's 20 years old. He's still very young. He's had no coherent development as a player since he broke into the team, because the club has not been in a position to give him that. He's had his position changed, his manager changed, all the messages he's taken in. He'll have had Koeman telling him to do it one way. He'll have had Allardyce telling him to do another. Now he's got Silva telling him to do another. He needs to play his way through it. He could still come good. I still believe he will come good. I think it's ridiculous the amount of venom he gets. I don't know whether it's because he's a young player, people expect more of him, or it's easier to criticise a young player who's local. I don't think that protects him. I think that hurts him more than anything. And I think, when did we get to the point where we didn't look after our young players as supporters, and we started, I don't know, just picking on them? Because I think Davies gets it worse than any other player. I really do. I think he gets it worse than any of the foreign players, anything like that. I just think we need to relax and sort of take a step back and just realise he's a young kid who's trying to learn the game as he's going along. He's not even 21 yet, and he's had more upheaval in his career than some players have before they're 28.
All right, so seemingly, let me get this straight, make sure I'm on the same page with you guys. All of us agree that he's not a starter in this team right now, right?
No.
When everyone is healthy, he is not a starter. He is on the bench. He's depth, correct? Do we all agree with that?
Yes.
No.
Oh, you
No,
don't?
not quite.
You think he might be a starter?
As in, if everyone was fit tomorrow, he wouldn't start because he's playing badly and Schneiderlin has come into form. Whereas last season, it was the opposite. Schneiderlin didn't deserve to play towards the back end of the season.
Totally agree with that.
If Tom Davies if you were to snap your fingers and Tom Davies would get his mojo back and go back to the way he was with Ronald Koeman when he first broke in, I think Davies would be a serious shout to play in centre midfield ahead of Morgan Schneiderlin if all these parameters were met. But as things stand now, no, he wouldn't be. But long term, I'd have him in the team a lot quicker than most. Long
term is a little bit different, and I will get there in just a minute, because I like the kid. You know, I like Tom Davies so much. The goal he scored against City, I took that and I cut it side by side with a goal that my kid scored in indoor, and I put it to Dueling Banjos, because it was like the same moves. You know what I mean? It was really cool. And my kid's first kit, it's Tom Davies. You know, I feel like my kid's the only kid with a Tom Davies kit in all of North Carolina. I don't think any other kid has that. I'm and I like the fact that he's unique, he's different, he's cool. He's cooler than I am. I've never been cool. It's just, but I watching that game today, rewatching it, and he gives the ball away so much. However, he wasn't the only one giving that ball away repeatedly. Were there other players who have lately who have performed poorly that are not getting the same criticism that might support your point, Terry, that you were talking about how maybe he's catching it worse than other players should be getting it?
Not so much. Coleman for the past 2 games has been pretty poor.
That's sort of the one I had in mind.
I love
That's
Coleman.
not fair. That's not fair in my opinion. But
It's okay. You get your chance, bud.
No, it's not the same. Davies has been playing poorly a lot longer than Coleman has. Coleman's is only 2 games, but what I mean, people are so quick to spit acid, spit venom at Tom Davies, but they won't for some other players. It takes a lot more. How long did it take for people to turn around on Schneiderlin? Schneiderlin was strolling about the pitch all season last season, and people only really started to get onto him when it was December. And Sigurdsson had a run of poor games. Now these are good players, and they've played their way back into form. But Tom Davies seems to be, I don't know whether he's younger or because he's local or because he's trendy. I mean, that doesn't come into it for me, but it might for others. They've got no patience with him. He's a 20-year-old player. How many other 20-year-old players in the Premier League would get the amount of abuse that he gets from his own supporters when he puts a ball to play or misses his touch? I just think it's ridiculous. I just think we've got a hair trigger for Tom Davies.
Paul, you've been wanting the floor. You've got it.
No, there's a few things there I categorically couldn't disagree with more. We'll start with Schneiderlin. Schneiderlin, yeah, it was poor from the start of the season to about December when it really blew up on him. Tom Davies, I want to say, he's not going through a poor run of form. This has been his run of form since Christmas. That's a really, really, really long run. I'm not saying that this is him. He's levelled off now, not at all. But when was the last time he had a good run of form? When was the last time he had 3 or 4 games where you think absolutely he was great? I can't figure that since Koeman went. I think
he was good last season. He was good last season when it was Davies, Garner and Rooney were in the team, and it started with that Leicester performance where Coleman first came back. Davies at that point in a middle 3 with Garner and Rooney. That was the middle 3, and he was playing well at that point, which was past Christmas. He was playing poor from about the last 3 or 4 games of last season into this season. Doesn't stretch back as far as.
It's been longer than that. He was dropped by Sam Allardyce and was told pretty much that he had to do something more in his game. He said that himself. I went to the manager and said, "Where can I improve? I know that I haven't performed as well as I could have done." He was ready. He took a while to get back into the team when Koeman went. He finally got back in under Allardyce. He didn't really do much. Did he? You think he got a goal? I can't remember who it was against. It was at the Gladys Street end. It wasn't Southampton. It was another one. It was around February, March time, something like that. That was his first goal all season. But what I'm saying is, everyone's saying, I can't think of a 20-year-old who gets much abuse. I can't think of a 20-year-old in the league who's had that many games. He's played well over 50 league games now, probably more than that, maybe past 60. And less than half those performances have said to me, "Yeah, you look quality. You." A lot of those games, he's just been completely forgettable, or he's been a hindrance on the pitch, and he doesn't deserve to be there. I want to stress this again. I'm not saying just give up on the lad, throw him in the bin. He's rubbish. But all I'm saying is, the lad, you can't keep playing that badly for a club like ourselves, who are aiming for what we're apparently aiming for. Would any other top 6 team have a 20-year-old in their team, and he can have 20, 30, 35, 40 really poor games out of about 50 or 60, and they just say, "Oh, leave him alone"? No, it would be a case of, no, the kid's not quite ready. Let's pull him back a little bit. Let's rein him in. He's getting too much. He's getting a lot of criticism because there's a lot of other young players there, or maybe not young, but a lot of other players who are in a similar predicament to him, who didn't get anywhere near the opportunities he's got, and basically got told to get out. Players like Besic, who had his injuries, but he's basically been fully fit for a year. He got that injury in Koeman's first summer, and he came back at the start of Koeman's second summer, and he was fully fit. He was at the club from August to December when Koeman went. Didn't get a kick during that 4-month period, did not get a game, and was basically farmed off on loan to Middlesbrough and told, "Yeah, you're not wanted here." He's come back this summer, worked his backside off in the summer, in this pre-season, to get another chance. Didn't get another chance, got told, "Yeah, get out again. You're not good enough." Same with players like Dal. He's still here, but he's another young kid who's not got anywhere near the opportunities when he arguably deserves them. Another player, I don't even like Balassi, but another player like Balassi who was coming off a serious injury. "You're rubbish. You're not good enough. Get rid of him. No one's going to miss him." No, hang on. He's coming off a really bad injury. He's not played anywhere near the level of performance, level of games. He's not had anywhere near the level of minutes Davies has. He's probably made more contributions in the games he has done than Davies has for the vast majority of the past 8 months. And yet, again, he's still hounded out and laughed at. Get out, you're not good enough. Players like Besic is the one who's thick. Vlasic is a good one. A player like Vlasic, he was signed last season. He didn't get a kick. He didn't get a chance. And now he's been farmed off to Moscow. Yeah, come back in a year and we'll find there's a place for you. I don't blame a player like Vlasic or a player like Blesic. If they're sat on wherever they are now in Middlesbrough or Russia, they're sat in their hotel and they think, but all right, I've been told to get out and I'm not good enough when I didn't get a chance. Whereas that other guy there, who's just because he's local, he's got a lot more chances than me. And if I had the amount of games he had, I wouldn't put in that many bad performances. I just think there's a double standard, yeah, but I think people are giving him a double standard just because he's local and he's got a quirky personality. I do like the kid. I don't want to dump on him. I don't want to sound like I just want to get rid of him and never see him again. But I think people are getting far too defensive about it. And he deserves a lot of the criticism he's getting. And the people who are criticising him shouldn't be just scolded and told, no, you haven't got a clue. Leave this young lad alone.
Okay, Terry, you've raised your hand. Really quick before you chime in, I would say you mentioned Besic and Vlasic. There is a chance, and because we don't know the whole situation, there's a chance that Silva said, look, if you stay, you're probably not going to get much first-team football. Okay? It could be that they chose to leave because they wanted guaranteed minutes. It's possible. And we don't know that. I just mentioned that because I'm the devil's advocate goober. Can't help it. So anyway, Terry, you were about to you had a question or a statement, sir.
Yeah. I'll just quickly touch on the other players you mentioned. Besic said he wanted to go to Middlesbrough. He asked to go to Middlesbrough. That was his desire. He wanted to go there, so that's not really.
He said he wants to stay. He said he wants to stay at Everton in the pre-season. He was told basically you're not going to get in the team, and I don't get why he's been told he's not going to get in the team and Davies is. That's my point. I don't know why Davies is getting picked over him.
That's nothing to do with Tom Davies, though.
No, but what I'm saying is Besic didn't slam the door down saying I don't want to be here. He wanted to stay and was basically told what Gerry said. If you want to stay, then there's no guarantees.
Terry, what do you got?
Well, first of all, you don't know what's gone on. The public statements are, I wanted to move to Middlesbrough. I wanted to come here because I enjoyed it last season. I'm going to play. Vlasic was told to train by himself, so you don't know what's gone behind the scenes there. To come here. Now, I would have kept Besic. I've not got a problem with Besic. I think he's a good player. And Vlasic, whatever. Tom Davies, you say he's played 40, 50, 60 games and been poor in a good chunk of them, half of them. Is that all his fault? How many managers did he have in that time? How many different positions? How many different partners? I'm not saying he played well in all those games. I've got eyes the same as you. He didn't. He played poor in a lot of those games. What my argument is it's not his fault, but a lot of the time. He's a kid. In a lot of these games, he was a teenager still. And he's playing in Premier League games with managers like Allardyce, who want him to do one thing. Some of them are with Koeman, who want him to do another thing. Then it's got Unsworth. He's not being protected as a young player. He's being taken in and out the side. He's being asked to do different jobs. And then because he's struggling with it, young players will struggle. He's getting abuse off the crowd. He's getting his own supporters on his back. He's not getting booed or whatnot by opposition crowds. He's getting abuse screamed at him by his own fans. It's not his fault. A lot of it. I know some people like him because of his quirky personality, or think that being a kid shouldn't protect you. And some people think, well, he is like myself. He is a kid. People need to calm down. You can't expect a 19, 20-year-old to be held to the same standard as Besic, for example. If Besic came in and played as badly as he did, Besic is an international footballer. It's different. You can expect different things of different players based on their status. We are treating this 20-year-old kid like he's been here for 15 years in the first team and he's playing really badly and it's in the position he's always played in. I don't think it's his fault, and I think we're being ridiculous about Davies as a fan base.
So I was thinking about last season when John Joe Kinney got a long run at right back. And I think on the whole, we saw some positives, but I think all of us kind of saw a difference when Coleman came back into the squad. I think I think we would say Coleman is a proper right back in the league. But John Joe Kinney shows flickers, but isn't quite there. I think that's a fair way of putting that. I think it was great experience, but the situation dictated he had to play, right? And I feel like that's where we're at right now with Davies, though, is I feel like based on who we had available on Saturday, he had to play, right? It's sort of, and, you know, because, and I don't know, I compare those two guys to Dowell and Lookman, other players that I want to get minutes, but I don't really want them starting over certain other players at this moment because I feel like they're not quite there, okay? Lookman may just be all in his head, okay? But he's just, I don't want him starting right now. Dowell, I feel like he's Sigurdsson light, but a little less consistency. You know what I mean? And Kenny, it was exciting to watch him play last week, right? You know, if he had a great game. But that's still not the Premier League. I think what we're talking about is, after kind of weighing what you guys are saying, I think both of you do have good points. You know, I think these are quality backups right now. They're quality backups. You know, and Paul, you said that, right, about Davies. How about you said you don't want to get rid of him, right? You said you just wanted to be treated fairly. So really the discussion between you two guys, the friction, the point of contention is how he's being treated at the moment. Not really his play. It's more about Terry feels like he should be treated. He should be treated more gently because he's a young guy and he hasn't been in a fair situation the past few years. And Paul says, you know what? He's a Premier League footballer, and let's treat him that way. All right? That's kind of, I feel like our audience may be completely on board with both of you. It's just down the middle, seriously, okay? So I'm not going to sit there and say that you guys are flat out wrong about any of this stuff. I think you both bring up really good points. And they're fair. They are fair. It just depends on how you view your team. You know, how do you view this? Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes tough love is good, and sometimes an arm around the shoulder is good. What do we do as supporters? You know, there are times when Tom gave the ball away, I was just saying bad words at the screen. Like, what are you thinking? That was too small of a window. You were not going to get that through, you know? And then there are other times where I'm like, oh, Tom, that was safe. That was well done. You know, way to knock that ball loose. So, yeah, he's polarizing right now. I feel like we always have one local guy that's polarizing, right? That we just have to decide how we feel about them, you know? Because if they're not in a good run of form, right?
Yeah, before him it was Osman, to be honest. Osman had his lovers, Osman had his detractors. The thing I'll say about Davies is I like a lot of what Davies does, and I think he's going to come good. I do believe that he is going to become a great player. And there's been a lot of other local players over the past decade or 2 decades who you kind of think, yeah, if you weren't a local guy, I don't see you getting in many other teams. Right? I do think there's a lot of other clubs in the country that would take Davies if they had the chance to. I think that's the big difference between him and a lot of other guys. I think only him and Rooney, maybe. Rooney, Barkley, you could throw Barkley as well. They're the only 3 local guys who've come through in the past 3 years where I think there's a lot of other clubs in the country that would love to have him, but there was kind of a lot of other guys who just coasted, and people saw that, kind of got annoyed eventually.
You know, the unfortunate thing is I feel like the kinks in Tom's game, the main kinks, are sloppy passing, and I feel like the game is moving too quickly for him right now, for his brain, and the only way that goes away is minutes. That's the only way it's going to go away. So it depends on when he gets those minutes, right?
No, my point would be, though, he's had an awful lot of minutes, and a lot of the players haven't had anywhere near the amount of minutes, and they were basically thrown on the scrap heap, and there's certain players who just... I think what's annoying a lot of his detractors, like myself, is there's a feeling that you can't dare criticise him, otherwise people will just jump on you and say, you don't know what you're talking about, leave him alone. It's like, no, if he's going to play that badly, and he's going to play that badly in an awful lot of games, because the amount of bad games he's had does vastly outnumber the amount of good games he's had in the past 12 months, easily. And I know what Terry said, it's not all his fault, but there's just sometimes you think, no, as you said, Gerry, no, it's enough of the arm around the shoulder now. You do need a bit of tough love. If you are going to become the player we think you're going to become, then you can't just be constantly being thrown in the team and allowed to just be loved. It's like, no, at some point you have to kind of earn the adoration that you're getting. And I just don't think he's done enough of that in the past. Yeah, I hope he's going to do that. I want him to succeed more than anybody, but I'm just trying to be as real a situation I can. I think just by telling him he's great and leave him alone, that's going to do more harm than good in the long run. I think too much spotlight is getting put on him, and he needs to be reined in and taken out the line of fire a bit more, rather than just leave him to it. It will all work itself out, and it's all going to be a happy fairy tale ending. We don't know that.
The irony is he kind of got started. His breakthrough was with Koeman, who's like the opposite of the arm around the shoulder. Kind of funny how that works, you know.
And he played. My argument would be he played best under Koeman. That was the best run of his career. Was under Koeman. That would be my argument. You say he needs men. My argument would be no. When he was given the tough love approach, he responded best. And since the tough love approach, I don't know what's happened with. I don't know what Allardyce was like, but since the tough love approach seems to have gone, then that's when his form has decreased. That's my argument. The tough love approach was working. It could work again, or it's been a long enough period now where I want to see it.
All right, Terry, one last word from you, because I've been hogging your time to talk.
No, I think I don't think we're going to agree. I think you should get the last word. He thinks what he thinks, and I think what I think, and I'm sure the people who comment and will watch will be the judge of who they agree with. Neither are wrong, neither are right. It's all shades of grey. That's with every player and every game and every team. So
opinions, eh? There you go. I feel like as long as you can defend it with evidence and points, I'm always going to listen. Just saying. All right, so guys, that's it for our Davies. I guess it was a 15-round bout just then. Let's check the scorecards. Scorecards will be your comments. What do you think about that? Anyway, that's it for our Davies segment. What do you do with them? We'll see. If you dig what we do, please subscribe. We're well over 1,100 subs now, trying to creep up toward 1,200. So sub, if you will, please. Thank you. If you want to check both these guys out, they've got some analysis. You'll find them on the Liverpool Echo fan jury, and you may find some stories and analysis of Paul's on the Toffee Blues website. So, yeah, guys, let's move on to the next thing. All right? Guess that's it. So, bye.